Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? I am Nino Garafola. Question for you. Have you ever had trouble looking at a financial statement like it is boring as hell? I know there's been a ton of people who have. I'm a numbers guy, and sometimes it really wears on me. Now, here's the other thing. You might really like it. You might be like me, just love numbers, but then you might have a question. A lot of those numbers people are very, very curious, might have questions and be like, well, I wonder why that number is the way that it is, or what did it look like last year? Or what about 2 years ago? Like, how does this number stack up? And you start asking questions and you just don't have the information. If you have any of those problems, I have a solution for you, which is awesome. So first of all, let's take a look at a normal profit and loss. And then I'm going to show you the ultimate solution. So let's take a look. Typical profit and loss. Here we go. We're going to pretend like we're in December 2024, looking back on the previous year, or previous month, like we normally would. Again, November 2024 is what we're looking at, profit and loss. And the name of the company is Black River Construction. So we see our construction income, 100,000. Great, very nice. Job-related costs, 92,000. Okay, well, that's really, really high. But how does it stack up for what we were expecting? You know what? Really don't know. Job labor costs, okay, that's fine. How does it stack up? Again, the big question. However, there's a big, big problem. Our cost of goods total, 104. We have negative gross profit. That is not what we want to see. We also see total expenses, 11,000. Now, we're just assuming that we still don't have a budget for this. We don't have projections for this necessarily, monthly projections. So we're kind of flying blind right now. We see a negative $14,000 net income, but really, how are we doing? That is a big question, and we don't have an answer. Well, here is the answer. We are going to take a look at a dashboard. We're going to take a look at a different sheet here on our dashboard. This dashboard is through Power BI. It's built through Power BI. It's giving you business intelligence. That's what BI stands for, business intelligence. Finally getting the intelligence we need from our business. Now, what I can do is I can click on this month of November, and we're going to see all the same numbers that we saw before. We're going to see our income, which was 100,000. We're going to see our cost of goods sold, which was 103,000. Then we're going to see our expenses, 11,000. That breaks out into 14,000, negative 14,000, that is. Okay, so not great again, but now we have some things to give us a little bit of perspective. We have year-to-date profit. Well, 111,000. What was it the year before? Oh, glad you asked. 59,000. We're $51,000 over where we were last year, which is awesome. Now, let's click on this again. Year over year change in profit, 105%. We are up tremendously. Our goal, we have this little gauge right here, and this goal was 95,000. We wanted 95,000 in profit, and look at this, 111,000. We're over that. We also see the customers, how it's broken out by customers. This is just really powerful. And then what is our profit by month? Now, all of a sudden, you're going to start to see something very concerning. Well, we've had a really good year. However, what went on in August? Well, glad you asked. But before we start diving into that, let's dive a little bit deeper into our income. So we have a little tab, just like we would in Excel, and we're going to take a look at our income. Well, light green line is our income. Dark green line is our income from last year, and we can see how all that shakes out. We see big income for last year near the end of the year, very, very slight at the beginning of the year. So what we do is we're seeing that the biggest difference was at the beginning of this year. We did an awesome job at the beginning of this year with our sales. We're also seeing our sales, 787,000. Well, how are we doing as opposed to what we wanted to do at the beginning of the year, our goal? Well, now we have a gauge. Our goal was 800,000, and we're almost there. Again, we see the breakout by customers. What was it year over year? Glad you asked. Sales last year to date, 665,000. We're 13% over that at 753. Now this only takes into account through last month. It has nothing to do with this year, right? Or this month right now. And we can see that total to date right now, 787. Increase in our sales over last year, 88,000. We're doing awesome. Now let's take a little bit deeper dive into what our costs have been. Okay, so we have the green lines right here is our income. The blue lines is our production costs or our cost of goods sold. And we see how that breaks out by year. Okay, now gross profit by month. We see October was awesome, and we see August was not so awesome. We can even see that right here. That difference is obviously just different representation. This schedule as opposed to this, or this graph as opposed to this. Now what we can do is we're also seeing our gauges. We wanted 21% of our sales to go to labor, no more than 21%. And we're doing awesome. We're under 18%. So we're doing a great job with that. Material cost, we wanted to be at 48%. We're at 37%. And cost of goods to target, our target was 69%. And we're at 54, almost 55%. We're doing an awesome job. Well, you might be asking yourself, well, how does it break out by customers? Again, glad you asked. So this cruise person, this cottage, new construction, 301,000 of income, right? Well, now we have our income right here, our costs, our labor costs, our material costs, and now we know our percentages for each of that as well. Slicing and dicing like nobody's business. Now let's figure out Weisinger, and they have a bathroom addition that costs 160,000. How did that shake out? Again, glad you asked. We're under our targets for that as well. We see that 160,000 of income, 70,000 of cost of goods, 32 went to labor, 38 went to material. And then we can also look at this guest cottage right here and see how that shakes out. Now, how does our overhead look? Well, glad you asked. Right here, we have our overhead for this year. Purple, dark purple lines is our overhead for this year. The light purple lines is our overhead from last year. We see our year-to-date overhead, 227,000. Last year-to-date overhead, 127. So we're about 100,000 over where we were last year. Well, just making a very brief view, this is why visualization is so powerful. We see this in August. We saw that immediately. You probably saw that as soon as I turned the page. August, this one does not fit. So what happened in August? Well, let's take a look. We click on that, and now we look down to our spreadsheet right here. We have our administrative expenses. We have our advertising, building expense. Well, these lines right here, there's green and then there's red. This red line tells us, oh, there's something wrong. 80,000. We don't even need to look at these numbers really, but 80,000. And last year, 5,000. What the heck went on? Well, let's expand this a little bit and see what went on. Well, immediately, again, we look at that red line, officer wages, officer's labor. Oh no, 75,000 over budget. Oh, you know what? Remember we were looking at, they had a really good beginning of the year. There was a ton of profit. This officer's labor is an extra bonus to the officer, most likely the owner. Okay, makes sense. So when we're seeing this change in overhead, nearly 100,000 change in overhead, we can pretty much discount $75,000 worth of that. However, it's still important to look because we're still over significantly. So administrative expenses, we're doing okay. We're about $1,000 over year to date. Advertising, we're a little bit more, we're almost 15% over. Not a big issue though, because our sales have been really good. Building expense, we're doing pretty well on that. Still a little bit over. Now this would be even better if we had a budget so we can see what we had projected, but still keeping in mind how awesome this is. We're over $95,000 through this month. So again, and then what is the change in percentage by account? Well, vehicle expense, we're over 275. So you can make and slice and dice, and you can do all these crazy things with all this different all these different things in Power BI, whatever you want. You can look at your advertising, you can look at your marketing, you can look at how people are quoting, how your salespeople are quoting, and get different percentages of that. And you can even see how your laborers are doing as opposed to how far they're producing. So there is a ton. This opens up a whole new world for businesses. If you're interested, please reach out to me. I would love to be able to help, and we can discuss some of the options for you. That's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching.